let me turn it over to Langers. And I think one of the questions I'd asked you, but it might have got cut out for everyone, is maybe we'll have you start off just a little bit and bring us up to speed with what's happened. It's been a very busy week, 2 weeks, week and a half here since we last spoke. You want to fill us up to a little bit of speed about everything that's happened up to this moment in time right now.
Initially, there was the Big Bang. No, in terms of Saturn and that sort of thing. So the last 2 weeks have been extremely busy. We've been working. Alsec finished their audit. We were working with them to publish their report. Then we've been working with Sigma Prime. So they delivered their report, but there were still some items in the report that weren't marked as resolved. So we got them to basically go through and double check that all of those were resolved. So they did that last week, and everything's cool. So we've published their report. So that's kind of like the official audit process complete. There is actually another report, like a bonus report, coming as well, which will kind of like publish this week. But I'll give more details on that later. It's not holding us back. It's it's done and all that sort of stuff. There's the one that's coming through. Then last week we were also doing a lot of testnet testing. So the community really really hammered the testing last week, in terms of they clearly there are a few people in the community that really love the multi-deposit feature, because I think there was like 1,600 deposits in like 5 minutes or something. So the testnet got a really good workout. I actually raised a couple of little edge cases, so that was good. So we fixed those up, and we've been working with the community and internally to just essentially kind of like refine the smart node. So we've been working through that last week as well. What else were we doing last week? And then it's really kind of preparing for the release, the deployment of the contracts, which happened on yesterday. So it was kind of like going through our run, preparing like a run sheet and all that sort of stuff. So all kind of that gearing up for the launch, and preparing all of our like verification scripts. And there's a whole heap of kind of tooling and that sort of thing that we put together to make sure that the release is has been successful and all that sort of thing. Yesterday we deployed the contracts to mainnet. Gas is pretty cheap at the moment, so that was quite amazing how cheap that was. And so we deployed the contracts. We've got like a little tool that enables anyone to verify that the contracts are match the contracts in source control. So we've deployed that and announced that to everybody. And we've let the ODAO know about the release. And yeah. So it's kind of the thing that's happening next essentially is we've got the 7-day delay. So we've raised the proposal. It's got 7 days, and then the ODAO can start can actually start voting on it. And then once it's approved, essentially we can then execute it. So we're aiming to launch it next Wednesday. So that's kind of like the timeline at this stage. This week we're also working on the Immunify bounty program and flipping that over. And we've just got to work out some stuff with Immunify, and then that'll be live. So yeah, it's busy.
Yeah, let me ask some questions on that kind of came up, and I also encourage anyone here, if you have questions, just to come off mute here. But let me ask just a few that I have in my notes from watching the rocket fuel and what you just said here. So I guess back to the contract deployment that you did yesterday, or maybe Kane did yesterday. Did it go good? Did everything deploy correctly, and did it verify using your tool?
Yeah, yeah, everything was fine in terms of that. We had like an RPC issue, but it was fine in the end. Um, yeah, no, it was the deployment went fine. The verification of like the proposal and that sort of thing went fine. Verification of the contracts against source control were fine. So yeah, no, it was all very smooth.
Okay, and then did I see that you've already raised the vote to adopt the code with ODAL? So the 7 day um, waiting period's already ticking, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So what actually happens is we deploy the new contracts that are essentially all the contracts that are going to replace the existing contracts, and then there's an upgrade contract, and that upgrade contract performs the upgrade. So what it does is it adds new contracts and replaces contracts and that sort of thing. So um, and what the proposal is we propose to add that upgrade contract to the protocol, and then we can then execute the upgrade, and it goes through and changes the protocol. So yeah, so that upgrade contract is the thing. Well, it's one of the contracts that gets verified. I can send that address over to everybody. I'm sure maybe I send it to the ODAL, but I don't know if I sent it wide, but um, uh, it's quite an obvious contract anyway, but I can send that around if people want to see it. So that actually performs the upgrade. So there's kind of like a few steps. So the ODAL, we've got this delay period, the ODAL vote, and then we hit quorum. And once we've hit quorum, uh, the proposal can be executed. And then once the proposal is executed, the upgrade is ready to be launched. And we will execute that on Wednesday. So the actual ODAL proposal will be executed ahead of time, but the actual launch of the of Saturn will be triggered by us when we're ready on it's our Wednesday morning.
Okay, let me just ask a question on that because I keep hearing different dates. When assuming everything goes okay, the Immunify doesn't identify any bugs. The Odell votes in favor. They pass the proposal. Somebody executes the on-chain transaction. Everything's lock loaded and ready. And then I guess it's the team, and I don't know what the role would be if it's still Guardian, a Security Council team, or the correct thing. You would actually execute it and turn on. That would actually be the launch of Saturn 1. Is that correct?
That's it, yeah. So in terms of the timeline, the 7 day uh, delay ends on our Monday. I think I've got it in the announcement. So if you have a look at the announcement, the ODAL can start voting. It's a bit tricky because my time zone is completely different to everyone else's, but it's our Monday afternoon basically, and then you, they can start voting from that period onwards. So they've got kind of like a day and a half to kind of like vote. Um, it is quite short, but we're making sure that we're communicating with them so that they know that it's coming and that they need to do something. So hopefully they should be ready for that. So they will vote and then we'll reach quorum. That'll get executed ideally on like the Tuesday of our Tuesday, and then on the Wednesday morning we can then trigger the upgrade.
Okay, and then just to help clarity here, and recognizing time zones are hard, but assuming everything goes good, when is Saturn 1 supposed to launch? When is that final command supposed to happen? Sometime midnight UTC, but on what day? Because I'm hearing different days, and I'm assuming it's an Australian time zone problem.
Yeah. So I think I've got it in the protocol announcement, and I used um, hammer time. So when you look at the time in the protocol announcement, it will be in your local time. So so that will kind of hopefully help. But if we go through, have a look now, I can triple check.
Yeah, and I guess everybody's time zone would be in there. So for me here, I'm in Pacific time right now. When I'm looking at it here, it says that we're targeting launch for in Pacific time zone Tuesday, February 17th at 4 p.m. Of course, I'm going to be at ETH
Yeah,
Denver, so I'm going to have to do the math, and I think that's going to be
5 p.m.
Mountain Standard Time at 5 p.m. But everybody should look there. That is indeed the correct time that the team
So
plans to turn it on, correct?
yeah, that's right. So I can whiz down. This is and I'll actually no UTC. I'll assume UTC for Europeans. But that's it's very that's very British of me. So Brisbane is in out so Australia. It's 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning. But for UTC, it's midnight on Wednesday. It is Pacific time. It's 4 p.m. on Tuesday. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Tuesday. Mountain time, 5 p.m. I should have done them in the right order, but 5 p.m. So um, yeah, so that's kind of so basically for the US it'll be Tuesday afternoon, evening, where the launch will be,
Okay,
and then
perfect.
for Europe it'll be early in the morning on Wednesday morning.
Okay, I got 10 more questions for you here. One of the next questions is, and part of my ignorance on the correct terminology here, but I know for the longest time the Saturn One resided on GitHub under the branch 1.4, right? When do you merge that branch back into master, if I'm saying that correctly? Is that coming up soon or no?
I think we usually do that after the release. So we deploy from 1.4, but then we merge it into master once. So I think master is usually we usually treat master as the thing that is live. So so once we've deployed it, we'll merge into master.
Okay. And then, like I had shared just in the beginning of this call, like, we were going to do a community call with you last week, but I think, obviously you guys were really busy. And so we decided to just push it for, today, keep you guys on track for the launch window. But it was interesting because in my show notes, I said, for last week, I said, hey, launch is looking like we've got 12,000 ETH in the deposit pool. I mean, it's, reaching near capacity. Back then, it was like 18,000 capacity. Our ETH contract was 100% full with its 1% target. It was about 4,000 ETH. And then, of course, I don't know if we got a name for it. I'm calling it Black Thursday, right? I don't even know what precipitated it, right? Everything's dropping. And, we saw,
The day the market crapped itself.
yeah, yeah, the day everything went down, right? But in some ways, like I mean, and so I want your kind of input on this. It's shifted the entire maybe weather conditions for launch, if I use an analogy, right? But I mean, it was great for the rETH holders, right? Those that needed to exit liquidity immediately for whatever reasons they were facing. They had just a very deep liquidity pools right there to go through, and were able to exit at nav pricing and values, right? And that's basically what we want. That's our product, right? We want people to be able to redeem it at full value. But now, kind of looking at it, and I think I took a look at it this morning here, so I don't know if it's totally up to date, but right now it looked like everything was empty, right? So now launch conditions, I mean, we still launch, but now it's a much different proposal. It's not like there's a huge amount of ETH to stake and there'll be this piranha feeding frenzy or not. But what do you see now about, how does it matter or does it not matter at all when we launch with no funds in the deposit pool? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think um, I think that I think you're right in the sense that um, it's kind of lucky that that was there, because I think rETH would have been in a bit of a worse state if it wasn't. So I and really withdrawals. Uh, if we look at the future, where we do have kind of redemptions and that sort of thing, I that is what's probably going to happen. Is when there's demand, there's demand. When there's not, there's not. So I think from that perspective, it's good that it kind of happened like that. Um, in terms of the launch itself, it's somewhat I like it would have been better if there was ample um, ample deposit pool ETH, and probably for me losing the withdrawal liquidity is probably the hardest part, because as soon as you lose that, then everything just gets arbed, and we're in that. As soon as there's a discount, there's that kind of arbing. Um, but I think in terms of the launch, I don't think it matters that it doesn't matter in the long term. Is what I'm saying. In the short term, it probably slows us down a little bit, but in the long term, I don't think it really matters. In the one thing that actually happens is when as node operators deposit. This happens with mini pools as well, but it happens with mega pools in the same way. When a node operator deposits, their ETH is used to launch the validators in front of them. So although that is a much slower process than just having the ETH available, yeah, that does mean that people will be able to get into and will be able to migrate, very slowly. Uh, Obviously, we want demand to return, and I think the macro gods are the thing that's going to kind of like control that. Obviously, we do have a little bit of marketing coming through as well, but to be honest, it depends. It depends on how much cut through we're going to get with this sort of market conditions. Now, hopefully, what's going to happen, the ideal situation is that things really start to turn around next week, and then there's a bit of a buzz, and then our marketing hits reasonably well, and all of that, and so that that would be amazing. But we have to kind of see. Unfortunately, there's no great timing. You just have to do what you can with what you've got, and I don't think it really affects us in the long term. I think really Saturn sets us up really well in terms of capital efficiency um, and bringing value to RPL. So in the long term, I don't see it being a huge issue, but we do need to. But it will build kind of over time, rather than having a bit of a leg up with the liquidity that we had before.
Yeah, no, it is interesting for it, but it kind of changes the whole maybe dynamics a little bit about it, right? I haven't really thought through it a little bit. I mean, I've been thinking about it drinking coffee this morning, but absolutely fascinating to watch. Let me ask another question because I know there's a lot of node operators listening in here. So one of the things that I think we've all maybe I don't know struggled a little bit with or were uncertain about is okay, and it seems that the community kind of has differing practice. Do you exit your validators ahead of this? I know some were exiting kind of and preparing for this, right? But now, there's an advantage now with these express queue tickets, right? For those that kind of just kept validating along, they now have these express queue tickets that they're going to have credited to them at the launch of Saturn here. Do you want to talk a little bit about those and whether, maybe explain that a little bit more on how to use those at launch? One challenge I think we all have here is, we're about a week away from launch and we might be playing with the test net, but it's kind of hard to figure out, so what exactly are we supposed to be doing at launch here? Do we all get in line with our express tickets? Do we not? Do we wait for deposits? We need a little bit of I guess everybody has to come up with their own strategy, but what are some of the factors that you would recommend or advise the community do around launch?
Yeah. Personally, I think that um, I think express tickets are more useful if you're going to wait a little bit to migrate. If you're gonna if you want to migrate as soon as possible, then express tickets they might be useful, but they may not be. And the reason why I say that is because there'll be a lot of people migrating. Everyone will have an express ticket, so express tickets at that point, aren't useful. Um, but they are become more useful probably later on. I would actually say that um, I, I'm going to say when we get a whole dump of rETH demand again, um, we the express tickets again will become useful. So I actually like if you want to migrate straight away, then I think wouldn't worry too much. Maybe just exit and come in. But um, I also kind of like I don't want to necessarily recommend everyone do that either because uh, it's a tricky thing to recommend because you don't know how long you're going to be in the initial queue and that sort of stuff. So I mean, one benefit, although there is a slight caveat with it, one benefit of Saturn is that you can actually DQ. So there's kind of almost less risk. You you can join the queue, and then you can be processed. But if it takes a little while to process, you can always DQ uh, but the DQing actually it uses rETH, not ETH. So you just have to be careful of that from a like a tax perspective, because obviously that would probably be classed as a disposal, so or a swap for that aspect. It does mean that the queue if you need to, if it starts getting a bit long. Um, so yeah, I'm not really kind of giving a huge uh, thing there, but I do think that express tickets become more useful once you if you're going to leave it a little bit longer to migrate, or if you want to kind of get ahead when we do see large rETH demand. I have we have been kind of like talking. There are a couple of like new large node operators that are interested in getting involved. They were very interested when there was like 12,000 ETH in there. They're probably not so interested now, but they will once we start getting big rETH demand again, then they'll probably come back. In which case, the standard queue will start filling up, and then the express queue will will be will be better. So it is difficult. It's not an easy thing. In terms of the express tickets, you only get the express tickets on launch. So if you've got mini pools on launch, and then you'll get the express tickets. But if you completely exit your mini pools, then you don't get those express tickets. If you completely exit before launch, then you won't be provisioned with the tickets. So you have to actually have those mini pools um, on Saturn launch.
Questions and some questions coming in the chat for it. Let me just shoot off a couple more, and then I really want other people to chime in and ask questions. Um, so yeah, I think I understood your last thing that okay, you kind of have to wait for you guys to launch at midnight UTC time. You can then file the command to get your express tickets assigned to you. For those that still have many pools, you can obviously decide what's best for you, but you would be able then to exit those, right? Um, and then there's an exit queue. It doesn't look too bad on Beacon Chain, and then get in line for the new Megapool validator queue with Rocket Pool, right? And I guess that will just advance depending upon the rETH demand, right? The team's going to be probably waiting in anticipation for the first mega pool validator to form, right? It may not form within the first, block afterwards, but hopefully we'll see it, a few blocks afterwards, right? As everything kind of starts lining up, and then with the advertising. But one question that I know they have, and then there's a whole bunch of questions in trading I'll direct you to in a second here. But one question is the whole concept between legacy RPL and real RPL, or the new Megapool RPL, right? How, maybe walk us through, how does a node operator withdraw their old legacy RPL? Do they have to exit everything? If they keep their mini pools, does the legacy RPL, does it still earn rewards? Does it get any of the mega pool ETH commission? Can you still vote with it? A lot of questions about the differences between new RPL, well, I won't call it new RPL, mega pool staked RPL and legacy RPL.
Sorry, trying to find the unmute button. Um, yeah, I'm just opening up RPIP 30 because I need to get this the right way around. But um, so with so on launch of Saturn, all currently staked RPL will be classed as this legacy RPL stake, right? And you won't be able to stake any more legacy RPL. You'll only be able to unstake it, and I think the amount changes. It's now you can unstake down to 15% of borrowed ETH. Is the double check?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
15% of you can unstake down to 15% of borrowed ETH. Um, so that changes slightly as well. And then, if you stake RPL, it will automatically stake it as kind of like Megapool staked RPL. And with uh, what you'll do is as you migrate your mini pools, you'll kind of exit your mini pools, and then you'll be able to unstake your RPL to the point where you have no RPL staked, or no legacy RPL staked. And when you go to the unstake command, it kind of gives you um, three options. The first option is, do you want to unstake legacy RPL? Do you want to unstake Megapool RPL? And then there's a third option, which is essentially because RPL staking changes in Saturn. It's now a two-step process. So you say, I want to unstake it, and then you wait for a period, and then you can withdraw it. There's a big difference though between how legacy RPL was kind of like treated and Megapool RPL was treated. Or is treated. So with legacy RPL, obviously you had this situation where it's kind of bound to your mini pool stake, and you can only unstake it really once you've unstaked your mini pools. With mega pools, it's not like that at all. You can unstake any amount at any time, and so you could stake, let's say, 100 RPL. It doesn't matter how many mega pools you're running, and then you can then unstake that RPL. You have to wait the delay period, but you can unstake that at any time. So it's not bound to your mega pool stake. It's just you can unstake at any time essentially. So it follows that pattern of RPL being an optional collateral. With the so that's kind of like the differences between those two things. In terms of rewards, so now I've also got to get this right as well, but I think all RPL get get inflationary rewards. I have to triple check that, but I'm pretty sure that all RPL stake get RPL rewards, RPL inflation rewards, until we essentially turn that off, which will be in about, I think it's like 6 months' time, according to the RPIPs. We will essentially reduce inflation and not pay that to node operators anymore. So that'll be in about 6 months' time. So that's RPL inflation. With megapool staked RPL also get this thing called voter share, or what Mav likes to call the rev share. Essentially the share of rETH commission. So a big part of that, 9% of that commission, goes into a pool, and then that pool is then distributed amongst RPL staking node operators. But that's only megapool staked RPL. So they're kind of like the differences between how the rewards work. In voting is really simple. Everybody who's staking RPL gets vote power, whether it's legacy or megapool. It doesn't matter. Or you both get vote power. So that's an easy one.
Okay, perfect. And thank you. Let me ask a question. I think it was by Steely. I have to scroll up. Trading's pretty active here, but Steely was asking. I guess there's on the hoodie testnet, right? There's the branch 1.4, but there was also some contracts that were 1.4.1 that were being issued. What's up with that?
He's got very sharp eyes. Um, so that literally isn't that the upgrade, the 1.4.1 upgrade that's on Hoodie on the testnet at the moment is literally an upgrade contract that increments the protocol version number. So there is absolutely no difference apart from the increment in version number. The reason why it's there is because although we have tested the upgrade process like 100 times, I'm paranoid, and I'm doing it again on testnet. So that I deployed that last night, and the upgrade process times out, I think, sometime tonight or sometime this afternoon. So I will then execute that upgrade to 1.4.1 just to test to make sure that the upgrade process is all good. So yeah, we've tested it like a lot of times, but it was kind of like one of those things that I wanted to triple check on testnet. So I'm doing that on testnet. So yeah, there's no difference. It's not actually a different version. It's just me incrementing the version number.
Okay, let me get one last question in from trading here, and then I'd like to just pause so folks listening here or joining can ask questions. But maybe it's a non-Saturn, maybe quasi-Saturn related question. But the question was about RPIP 77, and this is the one that just recently passed that included a change in the smart node contract to accept the latest delegate for the old mini pools. What's the latest with that, and how does that happen with timing with Saturn, or does it not happen with Saturn? Is it a post-Saturn thing? But maybe just a quick update on that, and then we can get back to Saturn topics.
Yeah, I think we are going to try and get that in for Saturn. I'm not going to completely promise at the moment because I think from speaking to Fornax, it's not a massive change. So I think we can probably get it in for Saturn, but we'll try and get it done as soon as possible. It depends on if there's any little tweaks, how many little tweaks we need to do for Saturn. At the moment, that's calming down now, so it really is kind of like refinement. So I think we should be good. But yeah, I think we'll aim to get it for Saturn. Yeah, we'll aim to get it for Saturn.
Okay, perfect. And let me just pause here. I've still got a ton of questions myself, but I want to pause and allow everybody to ask questions as well. I see we got a pretty big audience here, so anybody have questions, just come off mute and ask away. People are still processing quite a bit. I'll let anyone also chime in here, but I think you and Mav were working on a Medium article. Let me ask you about that. What's the status of the Medium article? I apologize if you said it and I missed it, but I'm sure other people are that as well too.
Yeah, that's done. And I think I think I'm allowed to say that it's actually. I got Mav, you go.
So it's actually live now. If you head over to the Rocket Pool Medium page where you would usually go for the bi-weekly update, it should be there right at the top. So a bit of breaking news for the community call here.
Yeah, and then we'll get that out on the actual distribution channels today, so that's out there. There's also some TPAN's working on some additional documentation, particularly around. There's like an overview, a little overview of Saturn, and then we're working on um, the essentially the mega pool deposit flow and that sort of thing. We're making a few changes to the way that rewards are not calculated, the rewards are claimed, because we figured out that we actually had like 6 different commands to get the different types of reward. So we're going to try and bundle it up into one command so that you can just call one command to claim all your rewards, and it'll go through each of the areas where the rewards are, and then show you what that kind of like looks like. So that's what we're working on at the moment. That's one of the kind of bigger refinements that we're working on at the moment.
Okay, there's a question in chat here from Dr. Doofus who can't come on mic right now, but can you give us an update on the marketing, right? You'd made mention to it, right? We do Saturn launch. Maybe start with the marketing, talking about the ETH staker launch party, and then what happens with Defiant and Bankless, and what's kind of the marketing strategy around here to get our ETH holders.
So first for the launch party that you mentioned, good opportunity to just call it out that we do have an event in the Discord event section. The link to join will be added soon. It will be one of the ETH Staker community calls that they host on YouTube. And then as far as the marketing goes, we will kick things off in as soon as 24 hours or so. We do want a little bit of a lead up into the launch of Saturn 1, as it's kind of also been mentioned in trading, and as probably everyone listening is aware, while Saturn 1 is, I guess you could say, primarily a node operator upgrade, we have the 4ETH validators, mega pools, RPL fee switch, etc. Despite that, the main focus right now should be on getting deposits for rETH, right? Because we need that to launch as many mega pool validators as possible. So because of this, a lot of the wording, the language, the language that we use as part of the marketing is a more kind of generic stake now. That can kind of be interpreted either way depending on who is watching. Obviously, the average person who runs into any of this marketing is more likely to be a potential liquid staker than a node operator, which is a good thing. So we have this kind of tricky job of using what is primarily a node operator site upgrade to promote liquid staking. So a big part of this is simply by getting the Rocket Pool name out there. People who maybe new to the industry, weren't around back in 2023 when the liquid staking craze was taking off and everyone knew everything about Lido and Rocket Pool and Stakewise and Frax and all the others. So simply by mentioning Rocket Pool, by getting banners and an email mentioned and the like out there, will attract people to the Rocket Pool site. And then because of this, a lot of our calls to action or the words that we're putting on this advertising is kind of a stake now. So that wording, that phrasing makes a lot more sense after launch, right? To say, oh, Saturn is coming, stake now. While of course all of us listening know that makes sense because you can deposit and mint rETH at any time, and now is just as good a time as after Saturn 1. It's a lot kind of cleaner, and the call to action is a lot stronger if we say Saturn is live, launch now. We mention all these benefits. We mention how the protocol is upgrading. Whether the person seeing this marketing consciously realizes it or not, that's kind of a push towards getting them to stake. So that is the plan. Kicking things off potentially as soon as 24 hours from now, and then that will run for a few weeks after the launch of Saturn 1. So there's a whole lot of different components with different duration dates. But yeah, the main kind of trigger to ramp things up will be the launch itself.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Mav. The deficiency or the imbalance in Rocket Pool is liquid staking holders, right? We need a 2 or 3x the number of rETH holders out there than what we currently have. And so, so if somebody's coming to approach Rocket Pool and they're interested in being a node operator, maybe kindly persuade them to be an LSD holder, right? I can see the ad now. You don't need looping, you don't need leverage, you don't need a complex DeFi protocol that could get you liquidated when the price moves. Just hold a non-exciting rETH token, and you can weather any of the storms ahead, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to that rETH marketing.
Yeah, so I've got like a bankless podcast thing this week, and that we're going to be doing. We'll eventually do one with the Defiant as well, and yeah, they'll kind of push that out through their channels. But I think, as Mav said, like, there are a few different kind of components. I think bankless is over kind of like a 2 week period, and then the Defiant is over a longer, kind of like 4 to 5 week period. So we should be able to get kind of a little bit of saturation in a short space of time, and then hopefully a little bit of follow on media as well.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to have all this kind of marketing blitz happen. So I think this would be really really good timing, and you know, so it's definitely stuff to look forward to. So yeah, let me pause again and just see if other folks have questions in the community. You can put them in trading. I can relay them, or you can feel free to come on mic and just ask away. I guess while we wait for a question here, anything, because we probably won't talk to you or hear from you until it's the launch party, right? Like, are there any things that node operators should be doing? I mean, obviously rETH holders, they just keep buying more rETH or holding rETH or using rETH or redeeming rETH, whatever they want to do with it, right? But the node operators, what should we be doing between here and there? I'm guessing there's probably a new smart node client coming out, maybe, I don't know, but tell us what do we need to do? What do we need to pay attention to?
Yes. So there is definitely that's probably the most important thing is the new smart node build. So we we are we've got like a release. We got like 3 release candidates, but we got some release candidates at the moment, and we'll do like the official one. I'm not sure whether I was going to check Next has done one yet. Yeah, we've got a release candidate at the moment, but we'll make that kind of like the official one very soon. I'll double check with Fornax to see if there's any little things that we want to put into the actual release will be like 1.19.0, and that'll be the release that you'll need to install. The release candidates will work perfectly fine, but we're just adding little bits of refinements and that sort of thing to the build. So once that happens, we'll make sure that everyone knows, and then yeah, it's basically upgrade to that version, and then you'll be ready for Saturn. In terms of like for the express tickets, there is a process in the background that will automatically provision the tickets for you, so you won't have to set off a transaction to do that. It'll do that for you. Yeah, and then the new builder will kind of work with the Saturn contracts and be compatible with that.
Okay, excellent. And Mav, anything from you that we haven't covered that you feel it's important for us to spend some time on the call?
I think that's mostly it. It's been good to see some people engaging on Twitter as part of the POAP campaign. Um, Obviously, Twitter is a big deal for the industry, even if their audio systems are still not quite working. So, would encourage everyone who has an account to help out with that as we lead up to and following the launch. There'll be a lot of content available, and of course, not only the Rocket Pool account, but the Rocket Pool intern account is a good way to stay on top of that and help to engage and boost that via the usual methods, likes and comments, retweets, whatever. And then to your point about the next time you'll hear from us, I was thinking potentially we could do one more call just before launch. It might not be necessary, so just watch the space. I assume it will be on Friday if we do decide to do it. We will put out obviously an event in Discord, and I'll do a protocol announcement ping. We do have a few little assorted things to announce this week. I'll mention one of them now, which is just for and good point from Joshua. Australian Friday or normal Friday. It will be. It would have to be Australian Friday because normal Friday would be
Normal
Saturday.
normal Friday.
So one of the points probably worth mentioning now is ETH Denver, which is come around very soon, kicking off in a week. I will be there flying into the US at the end of this week, but we won't have a team presence this time around. We also won't be planning the usual kind of quote unquote big community meetup. But if there are a few people in town, I know Ken, obviously you're going to be there. I'm sure there'll be a few other community members. We can coordinate something for maybe some kind of bite to eat and a drink somewhere. We'll do the usual kind of roll and ping and voting on a convenient date and time in the conference channel very soon. So I'll include that in the protocol ping. And yeah, it'll be good to see a few people and catch up in Denver. And hopefully this time not get sick by flying in a few days early this time. I'm hoping the jet lag will be a bit more manageable, and I'm going to remember my chapstick and water bottle this time around.
Yeah, definitely. If you've never been to East Denver, bring a water bottle and chapstick. And I haven't looked at the weather. It is kind of crazy, just how everything's moving so fast, right? Like, it's great to see that you're going to be there. I know the Rock Solid team's going to be there, and normally right around now I'm getting pretty hyped around East Denver, but with Saturn One coming, I understand the team's kind of busy there at launch control, making certain it goes good. And yeah, I'd be glad to hop on a call, and certainly we'll have to be busy on launch day, paying attention to the live stream and all. So that's going to kind of coincide with ETH Denver on there, and then normally, and it would seem like everybody was having that problem because they didn't have much of the schedule out for ETH Denver, and now they've just kind of released it this week, and it actually looks really good. Tremendous conference, and of course, it's going to be hard to distinguish between Ethereum blockchain things and everything. Open Claw and ClaudeBot seem to be dominating the conversation there too. Same with the crypto Twitter. So it's just more going on right now than what's humanly possible to keep up with. But yeah, I think it'd be great to see you there, Mav, if you're going to be there. And yeah, anyone else in the community, we can do a meetup and certainly enjoy the launch of Saturn here.
I just want to know, are we talking to OpenClaw now, Ken, uh, or are you actually Ken?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I called my open claw. I've called her Kai for Ken AI. And it's actually, if you guys haven't had a chance to play with that, I was joking with the team earlier. I said, you guys keep focusing on Saturn, don't even look at it. But once we get through Saturn and you see a couple validators have launched successfully and you feel it's safe to merge um, go ahead and play with it. It's if you haven't played with it, it's certainly eye-opening in what it does. But yeah, I'm the real Ken this time.
Cool.
All right. Well, I've been paying attention to trading. I think I've answered all the questions. Of course. I guess maybe the one other thing, and I think you did an excellent job kind of walking through RPL, and it's what happens between legacy staked RPL and megapool staked RPL that's in there. And I guess yeah, I guess we're just in the final days before launch, but. Langers, everything from your point of view, it looks all green light for launch. I know we've been here before with mainnet, and we had a last minute bug bounty come in, but do we seem to be good for launch?
Yeah, everything is fine from our perspective. As you said, that kind of can happen, but from our perspective, yeah, we had a go no go yesterday before we launched the contracts. Obviously, everyone's in a really good spot. Everyone's confident. Everyone's excited. It's kind of like nervously excited, obviously, as you are, but really, yeah, we want to kind of get it out so that it can obviously start doing its thing and creating value for people. So that's the most important thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've covered most of the topics we had on the agenda. I don't see anything else from trading, and give it one more chance here. If anyone wants to come up and ask a question, feel free. If not, we may see you one more time. If not, we'll see you on the live stream for launch.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks, Ben.
All right, enjoy. And Mav, I'll be looking forward to having a beer with you in ETH Denver. For everyone else, I'll see you there. If not, onwards and upwards, we're off to launch.